In a small, picturesque village in southeastern France, a wedding celebration took a devastating turn in the early hours of a Sunday morning, forever changing the lives of a newlywed couple. The bride, only 27 years old, was shot dead in a hail of bullets, leaving a trail of destruction and unanswered questions. This is the chilling story of a crime that shocked a quiet community, revealing a dark connection to organized crime and drug violence. But who was really behind this attack? And why was this idyllic celebration turned into a scene of terror? The story begins with the bride, a 27-year-old woman whose life was just beginning. She had spent the day celebrating one of the happiest moments of her life with her new husband and their loved ones. As a young woman full of promise, she was the centerpiece of the most significant event in her life, her wedding. Surrounded by family and friends, her dreams of a blissful future seemed just within reach. The bride's name has been withheld for privacy, but the pain felt by her family and community is real. She had only just begun her life with the man she loved, and in an instant, that life was taken away. It was around 4:30 a.m. when the wedding celebration took a horrific turn. The bride, her 25-year-old groom, and the bride's 13-year-old nephew had just left the village hall after an evening of festivities. The night was supposed to end in joy, but as they made their way to their car, their world was shattered. A vehicle carrying a group of masked men suddenly blocked their way. The attackers, armed with a variety of weapons, stepped out of their vehicle and opened fire on the helpless victims. Gunshots echoed through the quiet village, and chaos ensued. The newlyweds and their guests had no chance to escape as the masked gunmen relentlessly fired into the crowd. In the confusion that followed, police arrived at the scene within moments, finding the bride fatally wounded. The groom, gravely injured, managed to escape, but not before running over one of the attackers in his desperate attempt to flee with his family. Initial investigations suggested that the attack was not random. This was a carefully orchestrated assault. The young groom, known to have connections to organized crime, became a person of interest for authorities. His criminal background seemed to hint at a deeper motive behind the violence. But what was the true reason behind this attack on what should have been a joyous occasion? As the investigation deepened, several red herrings emerged, clouding the truth. The groom's history with crime seemed to suggest a possible link to a score settling over drug dealings or gang rivalry. However, no one could confirm the exact nature of the groom's involvement in organized crime. Authorities also explored the possibility of a random act of violence, or even a personal vendetta against the newlyweds. Some speculated that the attackers were targeting the groom specifically, while others suggested that the bride may have been caught in the crossfire due to her association with her husband. Days later, authorities made a breakthrough. Two of the attackers were captured in a nearby town, but one managed to slip through their grasp. The investigation uncovered that the assailants were part of a larger criminal organization involved in drug-related violence. The connection between the bride's family and the world of crime began to take shape. With the discovery of the attackers' identities, law enforcement quickly narrowed down the motives. This was a targeted attack, linked to the ongoing drug wars plaguing the region. As police closed in on the remaining suspect, a chilling truth became evident. The attack wasn't just about the couple. It was a violent message from one criminal faction to another. The targeted shooting of the bride, who had no known criminal ties, only deepened the mystery. Why was she marked for death? Was her wedding just an unfortunate backdrop to a much larger criminal operation? The intense manhunt reached its peak as law enforcement raced against time to capture the final suspect, but the motive remained elusive. Was it simply retaliation, or was there a much darker plot at play? As the investigation continues, one question remains unanswered. Who was truly behind the attack, and what was their ultimate goal? The captured suspects face charges of murder and attempted murder, but the full story of the Goult wedding massacre is still being written. With one assailant still at large, the community waits for justice, and the family of the bride struggles to make sense of the senseless violence that took her life. For now, the quiet village of Goult, forever scarred by this tragedy, is left to grapple with the chilling reality that even the most peaceful places can be torn apart by the dark forces of crime.